What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Leon, and today I'm gonna explore my experience really in buying a car in Jamaica. There is a lot to learn, there is a lot to get in. You really have to kind of get to understand what you're up against, because in my opinion it's quite frankly the hardest place to buy a car, I find. And not in the sense that you can't get it, but in the sense that there's so much things that can go wrong. And here are my experience in buying a car in Jamaica. How about I start by telling you my experience buying a car in Jamaica, because I think it was a bad experience. We've never really buy a car a lot, but I would say it's the worst experience I've had in buying vehicle, because as I said in the intro, there's so much thing that can go wrong. There's so much thing that you have to look out for. For me, making such drastic and big purchase, I think it is mind-boggling that there isn't more security in terms of making transactions such as that, like buying a car, because that's a big one. Our experience started out with us basically browsing to see what's available in our price range, because buying a vehicle or buying anything, you have to look at one, if you have the money, or if you have access to the money, how the transaction can be done, whether it be by cash or by a card, because these are things that's very important in buying. So without browsing these ideas, one, the type of transaction that we need to do, the type of car that is in our price range, because you have to think about your price range. If you're doing a transaction and you don't have a price range, it's gonna be rough, because these guys, they're not gonna tell you, oh yeah, we do have a $200,000 car, or we do have a $500,000 car that's very good. You have to have a price range that can give the guidance. Next thing is that we went ahead by going through all the dealers in our area first, and we kind of look into a few areas. Me, I'm in Clarendon, so I browse the market in Clarendon, and also I browse the market in Mandeville, because I heard that in terms of buying a car, it's a good place to buy a car. Anyways, I also explored Kingston, but I heard some very bad experience about Kingston, so I didn't really want to take the headache. I know Mandeville a little bit, so I didn't really try to overthink it. But we did that. We got the location that we need to make the purchase, because as I said, these are important to me. In my opinion, these are important. The price, right? What you're gonna use to make the transaction, the dealer that's in your area, and the dealer that you think that you could go with. Obviously, you can search the whole island, but to be honest, it's gonna be rough. But because there's a lot, as I said, you browse that. We browse that way, and then we ended up with calling all the ones in our area. Most cars in Jamaica are used. They have new cars, but trust me, they're very expensive. Jamaica doesn't make car, they import car. Many of the cars that's in Jamaica are imported. You're gonna pay imported price car. And the worst thing about it is that these cars are not brand new cars, you know what I mean? It's not like they're brand new car. There's a lot of new cars, but there's a lot of old car. And for the price you're paying, I don't know. The location, the cost, the transaction type, because these are important. In our opinion, these are important because we need to give them detail as to what we're going to use to pay, because you can't just show up. Jamaica is kind of behind in terms of technology, and most Jamaican, a lot of the car place that we call, they didn't take cards, and that's something that we wanted to use, because I wasn't gonna walk with a certain amount of money on me like that. No. Anyways, did that and tried to call them, try to see what they're available. Ended up, in our area, they were selling cars that's out of our budget. As I said, we browse around and then we get a good budget. After that, we got some quotes from some dealers And here's where it take a twist, because you have to understand that Jamaica is kind of behind on certain things, a lot of things in terms of online and out there. So some of these places that you're seeing posting video or posting other cars, or dealers that's posting cars, most of them are scammers. And this is something that you have to be aware of. You have to be aware that there are things that's happening in Jamaica and you can't necessarily control it, right? We ended up calling a few people. They even give us numbers to call, and when we do call or such like that, they're telling us to make the cars that we want. In order to hold them for us, we had to make a deposit, which from those points, hearing those things, it turned me off completely. I would never make a deposit on a car, even though it may be a good price, it may be a good model, but trust me, I would not recommend doing that, because there's a lot of scamming. And one other thing we ran into while doing this is the fact that there's a lot of people telling you that, but when we think back, we know that I would not trust that, and that's a red flag. To me, that's a red flag. We ended up walking into these dealers and seeing what they have, because in my opinion, that you have to think that Jamaica's not up there in terms of technology. So when these people are telling you this, you have to see it as a red flag. Walking into these dealers, some of them, when we walk into them, they don't even have the machine to tap or so they want cash only, and that's something that is a turn off for many customers. But at the same time, that's how it is. We had to deal with that. You have to understand that there's not a lot of dealers. In fact, I would say there is very few dealers that actually have the capability to do a transaction via card, and that's something that you have to look out for. You have to be aware, right? Because we had this instance where this guy we called this guy, and we told him that this is the car we want, and he was coming with this idea to make a deposit because someone was coming for it. He's kind of creating that urgency that we need to put this deposit or we're gonna lose this deal. It's a great deal, right? It's a super deal with a little bit of urgency on it and a little bit of scarcity because it's the only one. But in the back of my mind, I'm a marketing guy. I understand what he's trying to do there. Right there, I kind of understand what he's trying to do. So I tested one out. We said, okay, we're gonna be there. And when we told him we're gonna be there, the shop that the dealer that they said was on that map was actually not even there. It wasn't even there. So again, you have to be about this scam. It's very big. You have to be aware, especially here, and you have to be aware of it, right? Because it's gonna come to drop in your lap, boom. Especially when you're making such heavy purchase. Again, be very aware. So we ended up going to walk into a few dealerships. Even at that, the guy that we took to buy the car, he didn't really have a card, but he had a friend that could take the payment for him, that has a machine. So they had their agreement. He could have taken the payment, but it wasn't his. So he had to use someone else's payment system and then collect it by the other day. We went in. It was a nice little vehicle, and the price was, we negotiated a good little price. And it had some features that we were looking for. And that's not necessarily initially what we were looking for was it's a Pro Box. I'll pop someone up here, a Pro Box. But we ended up with a nice Nissan. It's not the creme de la creme of car, but in terms of simplistic, the price, element of comfort, a little bit of comfort, and it has some space. As much as how it's small, it has some space. So that's where we land with, and that's where we hit. We had to leave the car because the transaction took a day. the guy didn't want us to leave with the car. So what he ended up doing was he gave us the document, everything for the car, with the key and everything, and we left the car at the dealership until the payment went through. When the payment went through, the following, I think we ended up went in, because it was a Friday, and in order to drive the car, we had to go to the tax office and all that stuff. So we had to leave the car over the weekend and then do all of that stuff. So on the Monday we went to the tax office and we did the registration. He had a fitness that was expiring next month, so that was okay. Getting the plates for the car, getting the insurance, that we did on the Monday, and then we went for the car. So we went for the car. I had my cousin come with me. So this is something that I do. I don't know about you, and if you want to include that into you making this purchase, because as I said, it's a very delicate purchase, a very delicate situation, and you have to have some form of backup. Like for me, I brought my cousin because I trusted him, you know, and he kind of gave me that element of security where I can have more eyes and more experience around me in making this purchase, and it went well, you know. Having that kind of gave me more assurance and more kind of security wise, you know. So it's good to include that. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. Or if you want to add your mechanic to it. But my cousin, he had an idea about the car, and we went, and the car was well, you know. It has some minor issue when we brought it home and brought it to our mechanic, which was expected, you know, because you're buying a used car and the mileage was good, everything was good, except we had to change the tires, because the tires, you can see start to see it was a little bit bald, so we had to change that. Oils and all the normal stuff that you do on a maintainer car regularly, like the oil, the this, the that. We did that and it went pretty well, you know. And overall, as I said, my experience, it was bad because we didn't have experience. And I hope that this video can kind of open your eyes and just kind of show you how it can be in buying a car. You know, most Jamaicans, what they do is they just buy a junk car and then they set it from their home. They buy parts and put it to it. We didn't really want to go that route because we want something that's reliable, that can take us from point A to point B at a certain value that we're looking for. In terms of gas, it's good on gas, low mileage, and obviously the cost, the location too, it was a factor for us, and the fact that we could utilize our card rather than bringing cash, because I didn't want to walk with all that cash on me, for one, you know, to go into a dealership to pay for a car. I mean, you could have done that, but I didn't want to do that, so we didn't do that. I hope this video helped you in making your decision in buying a car in Jamaica. It is a very delicate and intense process, especially when you're very inexperienced. I hope that this video can help, just even a tiny bit, give you some insight as to what to look out for. I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't forget to turn on that notification so you can get notified whenever there's a new video. Until then, ciao.